हरतश यहाँ पे आके बैठो, चेयर लो, यहाँ पे आके बैठो। हम्म। बैठो, इसके करना है। Good morning, everyone. So today, I've got an idea that let us try to complete ancient Indian history in 2 hours. Only the base important things that are relevant to our exam. Let us start. We'll start the complete Indian history module from today on. First of all, the most important thing. The most important thing, the name of the land has, the name India or Bharat has been derived from river Indus or the land of Bharat. Bharat was a tribe in ancient India. Next important thing, ancient Indian history is divided into 3 parts. It is called as prehistory, proto-history, and historical phase. Historical phase. Prehistory is that part of prehistory. Good morning. Prehistory is that part of history where no written records are available. No written records are available. So, for studying this phase of history, and interestingly, this is the longest phase of human history. This is the longest phase of human history. Human history. Next, no written records are available. So, the only sources that we have to study this phase is archaeological sources. Archaeology in the form of tools and rock painting. Next important thing, proto-history is that part of history where written records are available, but scripts are yet to be deciphered. They are not understandable by us. Or we can also say that they are written in the records of other communities. For example, Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley civilization has been mentioned by Mesopotamian civilization. You might encounter a question: what was the name which IVC was called by? IVC was called as Meluha. Meluha by Mesopotamian records. One common thing in the ancient civilizations, Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization, and Indus Valley civilization, the scripts was pictographic. Even the Mesopotamian scripts, they are called as cuneiform script. That was derived from symbols. Egyptian script is called as hieroglyphics. And unfortunately, we are not able to decipher Indus Valley script. Now, the first phase of human history in the Paleolithic phase, in the prehistoric phase is the Paleolithic phase. Paleo means old. In geography, you have a small subtopic called as paleoclimates. So Paleolithic means old, and lithic means related to stone. Related to stone. In the Paleolithic phase, the most important thing is that it was a phase of ice age. Humans coexisted with nature when it was ice age. Next important thing, the occupation of humans during this time was hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering. Hunting and gathering. Next important thing, fire was discovered during this time. Fire was discovered. Next important thing, the tools that these Paleolithic people used were called as core tools because that was made of the major part of the stone. Core tools. Next important thing, these tools were made up of a type of stone called as quartzite. And scholars have also divided Paleolithic into three phases: upper, middle, and lower. So the earliest phase is called as lower Paleolithic. Lower Paleo. Next phase is called as middle Paleo, middle, and upper. So this is important because you might encounter a question about arranging these in chronological orders. So which of the following will come first? Lower, then middle, then upper. This was also the phase when hominids evolved into Homo sapiens. Actually, Homo sapiens are not yet present till Upper Paleolithic. Homo sapiens have developed in Neolithic phase. Homo erectus was the most common species. Homo erectus. We will see the development of hominids now. Ancient humans are called as hominids. Okay. First one was Homo habilis. Next one was the earliest one was called as Australopithecus. Australopithecus. After that, Homo habilis. Humans developed themselves to use hands for making weapons or different types of artifacts. Next one, because of the continuous use of hand, their posture has now changed to become Homo erectus. Homo erectus means man with erect spine. Man with erect spine. Homo habilis means hand using man. Next, Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens means intelligent man. And the part that we are subspecies of is called as Homo sapiens sapiens. Homo sapiens sapiens. One most important thing, as we developed from here to here, there was relatively development of our brain. Our brain developed more, increase in the size of brain. Relatively, it means in relation to our body. Or else, elephants also have a very humongous brain compared to us. Okay. One of the most important thing, the fact that you have to remember is Robert Bruce Foote. This man is called as father of prehistoric archaeology in India. Father of prehistoric archaeology in India. The thing that he discovered was a stone axe at the site of Palavaram near Chennai. Next, we'll directly jump to the Mesolithic now. Now, as we have seen in the Paleolithic phase, the climate was of the Ice Age type. As time passed, the climate has now started to become warm, and the snowy fields have melted to give rise to grasslands now. So this phase is called as Mesolithic. In the Mesolithic phase, there was further development in the human society. First of all, the occupations that we practice now, occupations changed to animal domestication. Animal domestication. Men lived pastoral mode of life. Pastoral mode of life. Another important thing. There was change in the type of tools that these people used. The tools developed in the Mesolithic phase are called as microliths. Microliths. Microliths means small stone tools. Its size range from 3 to 8 centimeter. 3 to 8 centimeter. And using microliths, they also developed projectile weapons like arrowheads. Arrowheads. Mesolithic period was also the phase of artistic activity by the humans. One of the most important example of this paintings was Bhimbetka paintings at Bhimbetka. They were polychrome paintings. This is very important. Polychrome means of multiple colors. Next important thing, some sites you have to remember, such as Chopani Mando, Damdama in UP, Bagor and Tilwara in Rajasthan. You will get a question of match the following type regarding these sites. Next one is Langnad in Gujarat, Bhimbetka in MP, Chopani Mando, this we've seen. Another important thing during this period, humans also developed primitive agriculture. Primitive agriculture. Observing the migration patterns of the animals, they must have got the idea about the growing pattern of crops. Next important phase is called as the Neolithic phase. Neolithic phase. Neolithic phase is also called as Neolithic Revolution. It is also called as Neolithic Revolution. Now, this term revolution was coined by a British officer called as V. Gordon Child. V. Gordon Child. This is very important. Now, why revolution? Why this phase is called as revolution? Because of agriculture. Agriculture is an activity where you cannot roam, like in pastoral phase. So you have to develop a settled mode of life. Settled mode of life. Next, agriculture is such a phase that you are able to develop surplus of grains. This led to a lot of free time. So man developed different crafts and activities like religion. People started to think about religion. Next, for storing of grains, you needed some pots. So man started the practice of pottery. And in the settled mode of life, man developed relations of labor, division of labor. Like for example, women are going to gather and men are going to hunt. Some people are going to develop tools, while others are only going to practice agriculture or hunt for the animals. Understood? This is called as division of labor. So this led to ties of division of labor and community. Now, what this means, they also developed some vacations where they enjoyed and did Jingalala dance around the fireplace. For developing pottery, they needed wheel. Understood? And wheel was also used for transportation. Understood? Now, in agriculture, they developed a new type of tool that was called as polished stone tool. Polished stone tool. Understood? Now, this wheel is also used as a pulley to pull the water, to lift the water from the well. Next important thing, the crops these people grew were wheat, barley, rice, millet, etc. Some facts we have to remember. Mehergarh. Mehergarh is considered as the first village in the Indian subcontinent. So you might encounter a question regarding this. First village in Indian subcontinent. Next important thing. We will quickly see the countries in the Indian subcontinent. countries in the Indian subcontinent. First of all, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar. Next, Bangladesh. Bangladesh. Next, one more is left. One more is left now after Sri Lanka. Maldives. So all these countries have developed an organization that is called as SARC. SARC. What is that organization called? South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Its headquarters is at Kathmandu, Nepal. And please call the what is his name? Shabas. We need a fan, na? Next. Next important thing. Mehergarh is also the earliest evidence of dentistry in India. Dentistry in the world. It is the first evidence of dentistry in the world. Next important thing. In Neolithic Kashmir, we have two important sites, Burza Home and Gufkral. Burza Home and Gufkral. You might encounter a question regarding where these following sites are located. Gufkral means Potter's Cave. Potter's Cave. Burza Home means place of birch. Place of birch bark. Understood? Now, one of the most important things regarding Kashmir Neolithic is that there is predominance of bone tools. Predominance of bone tools. So, Kashmiri Neolithic is differentiated by predominance of bone tools. Next, UP. This is very important. UP produced the evidence of rice cultivation in the world. Earliest evidence of rice cultivation in the world. Next, South India. We have certain sites in South India. In South India, the sites are called as ash mound sites. What they are called? Ash mound sites. It is generally believed that the Neolithic people in South India used to have periodic cattle fairs. Periodic cattle fairs. And the entire dung was burnt in the middle of the settlement. So that is why these sites are called as ash mound sites. Important sites here are Otunur and Palavoy in Andhra Pradesh. Next, Kodekal, Pubgal and Budihal in Karnataka. Next important thing. Man somehow got acquainted with metal. Paleolithic saw the discovery of fire. And after hitting some rocks, he must have seen that some shiny material has come out from the rock. What we call that rock is ore. Ore, right? So the first metal that was discovered by man is called as copper. So Chalcolithic phase is the phase where man started using copper and stone, but man has not given up stone yet. Understood? In the same Chalcolithic phase, after using copper for many years, man must have experimented with some metals, mixing copper with some other metals like arsenic or tin, and he developed a new alloy that was called as bronze. That was relatively more sturdier, more harder than the copper thing. Actually, copper tools are very pliant. Pliant means bendable. So it was okay when you did not encounter thick vegetation, like Indus Valley civilization, the region of Indus Valley civilization. But as you come to the east, in UP and Bihar area, there are thick forests, and these copper tools are used as in this thick forest. Understood? Chalcolithic period when copper and bronze came to be used. Now, one of the most important things here is that it started from Neolithic period itself. Man started developing certain areas of specialization, like cultivation of crops. All the crops cannot be grown at a single place. Understood? In the next phase, metal age, ores are not to be found everywhere. Understood? Ores are not to be found everywhere. Ores are found at specific locations. So to obtain these ores, man started developing trading networks. Understood? Trading network. In Chalcolithic period, for the exam point of view, we have to remember certain cultures that we are going to see in a few bits now. Now we will see about the Chalcolithic period. Now, in the Chalcolithic period, copper was also used for artistic activity. We find certain cards, animal images of copper at different sites of Chalcolithic phase. Understood? Now we will see the Chalcolithic phase. In Rajasthan, we have Ahar culture. Ahar culture. Now you will encounter questions regarding match the following. Match the following cultures with the areas. So Ahar culture was present in Rajasthan. Other sites of Ahar culture is Gilund and Ganeshwar. All of them are present in Rajasthan. Now Ganeshwar supplied copper objects to Harappa. And Rajasthan is the place where you find Khetri mines. Khetri mines, where in ancient times copper was obtained from. Copper obtained from. Similarly, during the Neolithic phase, man also developed the technique to obtain gold from its ore. So where do you find gold in India? KGF, Kolar goldfields. The other source was Central Asia, near Afghanistan. Understood? Next important thing, MP has two cultures of Chalcolithic phase, Kayatha culture and Iran culture. Understood? Next important phase, Maharashtra. Maharashtra has Jorve culture. The important sites of Jorve culture are Nevasa and Chandoli. Daimabad was considered as interlapping with Chalcolithic culture, this rural Chalcolithic culture, but it almost reached an urban phase. And it is also considered to be a part of IVC. Songaon, Inamgaon. Inamgaon is very important. In Inamgaon, we found a very large house. It must be of a chief. It was 5-roomed house. 5-room house. Understood? Next important thing. In South India, Neolithic was not followed by a copper age. The people of South India were relatively nearer to the sources of iron. Understood? So the culture that they developed is called as megalithic age. Megalithic means large rock. Large rock. The people of megalithic culture dressed these large pieces of rock into different shapes. Understood? There are certain structures called as tropical. Two rocks are placed one above the other. Next one is menhir. Menhir means a vertical rock. Now these rocks were kept as gravestones. There was also underground burials. Underground burials. Sometimes the table was there, rock platform. It was divided into 4 parts underground. Sometimes an access was provided to move through the compartments, and it was covered by rocks above the ground. This is called as schist. This is called as schist. So this is very important. Neolithic is not followed by Chalcolithic in South India. Neolithic is followed by megalithic age in South India. Now, one of the most important things, the tools that these people used were black and red pottery. And we also find certain grave goods indicating a belief in life after death. Understood? Next important thing, This Maski in Karnataka is important because this is also the place where we found Ashokan inscription containing his name. We will see this in a few moments now. Understood this much about megalithic? Next one, Harappan civilization. Now this, first of all, the name Harappan civilization. In archaeology, there's a practice of naming a discovery after the first site to be discovered. So Harappan civilization was called so because of the first site that was discovered, called as Harappa. Understood? Harappa. Discovered by Dayaram Sahani on the banks of Ravi. Now these sites of Indus Valley civilization are confined to a very wide zone containing Indus and its tributaries, Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, and Satluj. Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, and Satluj. Understood this much? And one more river was there in Haryana. It was called as Ghaggar Hakra. Scholars identified to be mythical Saraswati. Ghaggar Hakra, Saraswati. Understood this much? Now we will see about the phases of IVC. There are 3 phases. Early Harappan phase, mature Harappan phase, and late Harappan phase. Early phase is the proto-urban and formative phase. Mature Harappan phase is the full-fledged urban phase, where cities were developed and trade was predominant. Next was late Harappan phase. In the late Harappan phase, there was decline of cities, and people started migrating towards different areas and started settling in villages. Is this speed okay, or am I going very fast? Okay, na? 3 phases: early, mature, and late phase. Understood? Now the geographical extent of this civilization is 1.38 million square kilometer. 1.38 million square kilometer. The contemporary civilizations of IVC were Chinese. Contemporary civilizations. Do you understand the word what contemporary means? Contemporary means existing at the same time. Contemporary civilizations. The contemporary civilizations were Chinese, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian. One important thing about these civilizations is that all of these civilizations developed in the vicinity of the rivers. Mesopotamian civilization developed on two major rivers, Euphrates and Tigris. Euphrates and Tigris. Egypt developed on Nile. And Indus civilization developed on Indus River. Next. We will see the sites, the extremities of this IBC. We will see the extremities of the IBC. The northernmost site of IBC is called as Manda. It is present in Jammu and Kashmir. The southernmost site is present in Maharashtra. Daimabad is the southernmost site of IBC. The easternmost site of IBC is Alamgirpur. Alamgirpur. The westernmost site is Sutka Gindor in Pakistan. So this whole area was about 1.38 million square kilometer. It was the largest civilization of its times. There were certain outposts also, like Shortugai. Shortugai is present in Afghanistan. Afghanistan. It is a trading colony. It was a trading colony where these people supplied lapis lazuli to the core zone of IBC. The important thing, the discovery of Harappan civilization was by accident. When the railway construction was ongoing and the laborers discovered some bricks. Harappan civilization is remarkable for its town planning. First of all, most of the cities were divided into two phases. The important cities that were divided into two phases were Mohenjo-daro. Cities that were divided into two phases. Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa. Chanhu-daro. Now we will see the basic layout of this civilization. The cities were divided into two parts. The upper part was called as citadel. Citadel means a capital or where the important high ranking of officials lived. The next other part was called as lower town because it was a little lower in level. If you see it, it was like this. Other important thing about this civilization is that it was based on rectangular plan. Streets crossed each other at right angles. There was a very good drainage system in this civilization. Understood? Not all the cities were divided into two parts. Dholavira is the only city where the IBC was divided into. The city was divided into three parts. Dholavira, three parts. Some cities do not have any parts, and there is no relation with the size and extent of planning. Very small sites are also very well planned. For example, Aladino. Lothal is the city where only one part is available. Only one part. Understood this much, class? Now we will see about the economic life. The Harappan civilization carried on their subsistence with diverse activities. For example, agriculture. Another important thing regarding IBC is that there was absence of iron. Iron was not found in any of the sites of IBC. Next important thing, horse also was not found. Horse was not found. And we also do not get any evidence of lion. Understood? The important crops that these people cultivated were wheat and barley. Next important thing were sesame, mustard, and cotton. Surplus grain was stored in granaries. Important public buildings consisted of granaries and public baths. Understood? Next important thing was they also practiced animal domestication, hunting and gathering also. Other evidences of crops that we get are dates, peas, watermelon. Next important thing, these IVC people were townspeople. So they had developed certain specialized activities in artists in their artistry. For example, goldsmiths. They were expert goldsmiths. And one important thing regarding IVC people, they were fond of jewelries. Both men and women used to wear jewelries. They were expert goldsmiths. They were brick makers. The bricks of IBC were very uniform in size. They had a ratio of 4:2:1. 4:2:2. This ratio was maintained in all of the sites of IBC. Understood? 4:2:1. They were excellent stone cutters. We get to know this from the sculptures that they have made. Sculptures. Next is they were expert weavers. Cotton clothes were an important item of export to the Mesopotamian civilization. Cotton. IBC was famous for cotton. Next was they were excellent board builders because the board is depicted on seals and they had long distance trade overseas with Mesopotamia. Next is terracotta manufactures. Terracotta means baked mud. Terracotta was used for artistic skill and making certain tools also. Next is potters. They were excellent potters. The pots these people made were called as black and red ware. Black and red ware. The black on red ware. Red color pot was there and it was painted in black designs. The designs of geometrical patterns like lines and certain scripts of animals like bird and of the things of the sorts. Understood this much? Next is they were excellent bead makers. The most common type of beads that IBC people were known for is the long barrel cylindrical bead. Long barrel cylindrical bead. The name seems very fancy, but it is nothing but a long barrel cylindrical shape, and it was followed through by a thread. And it was made of carnelian. Carnelian is a type of stone. They also made this of faience. Faience means stone mixed with mud and then hardened. Next is copper and steel also. Not steel, silver also. Next is they were excellent shell workers. They used tortoise shell and mussels or clam for making utensils or other sorts of things. Understood? Next is trade. Harappan civilization developed extensive trade relations with Mesopotamia and overland with the rest of the sites of India. For example, these people used to obtain gold from KGF, with the Neolithic people of the South India. Don't write anything. I'll share the PDF afterwards. Okay? Trade was of the barter type. What do you understand by barter type? Exchange of goods. Exchange of goods. One more important thing that we have left is excellent in water management. Water management. There was separate drains for storm water, sewage, and rainwater. Separate drains. Separate drains. Drains and sewage chutes. Next important thing, the drains were covered by rock slabs. Drains covered with rock slabs. Next important thing, most of the houses contain bathrooms. Most of the houses contained of bathrooms. We can say that Swachh Bharat started some 6,000 years from now. Next important thing, this we've seen trade was extensive, both overland and overseas. Overland trade was within India. Overseas trade was with Mesopotamia. Actually, there were two trade routes. Consider it to be India. I'm drawing it very fast. It was like this. One trade route went like this, and from here into Mesopotamia. Another trade route was overland. सिक्किम से नहीं, वो अभी अभी तक नहीं है, सिक्किम तक नहीं पहुंचे ना हम लोग. That was Silk Route. Silk Route will come after 1000 2000 years from now. Understood this much? The things that the IVC people imported were gold, copper, tin, and several semi-precious stones. Now, tin is an important item of import because tin was tin is in a limited supply in India, and for making bronze, these people used and needed tin. That is why we can say that the bronze tools form only a minuscule portion of the total implement found at the IVC sites. Understood? Next important thing, exports. The IVC people exported agricultural products such as wheat, barley, peas, and oil seeds. Next important thing, we will see about the social life now. Actually, this is important. Seal was also used in trading purpose. Seal was used to stamp the goods. Understood? On wet mud. Now this was called as sealing now. Wet mud. This was called as a sealing now. Now the next thing is social life. Social life, actually, we cannot get much evidence of the social life. All we have understood about the social life is through the inferences, through the tools that we are getting. Now, one important thing we can see that after seeing the sculptures, both men and women used to wear jewelry. One other important thing, jewelry and other precious metals were considered as precious items because they were found in hoardings, buried under the ground. Understood? In the floor of the houses. Next is jewelries. We can see the dancing girl. Her hand is full of jewelry, of bangles, bracelets, fillets, and girdles. Next is these people also love to do makeup. They were interested in cosmetics. We find lipstick and facial applique at Harappa and Lothal. Facial applique means nothing but we can say fair and lovely of those times. Understood? Next is spindles, needles, combs, fish hooks, knives made up of copper. Certain tools that were made up of copper. Children's toys. We also found certain children's toys such as clay cards. Marbles also are found. Marbles. And we also found a dice game. Dice game. Next is we also found net sinkers. Net sinkers. If you've seen a fisherman, he ties certain weights to the net so that it sinks to the ground. And whenever he wants to catch the fish, he pulls it up. So net sinkers were also found. Next is art. We can see about the art perspective. We can see the dancing girl and certain figures of men, women, and animals. Birds made up of terracotta and carvings on the seal. Next is dancing girl. Dancing girl is a statue found at Mohenjo-daro. This is the dancing girl. It was made up of bronze. The technique that this was made up of is called as lost wax method. Lost wax method. Next is terracotta monkeys. This was a special type of pot, perforated jar. Understood? Now the uses of this type of jar is not clear, but scholars have said that it must have been used in fermenting liquor or some ritual purpose. Next important thing, mother goddesses of terracotta. Maybe this represented their religious belief or just the normal ordinary daily people. Next is their pots. This we have seen, black on red ware. Bronze ornament. This was a silver seal. Silver seal. Next important thing. We will see a photo in a few moments now that was called as the priest king. From the priest king, we can infer that the men also used to wear jewelry. You can see a diadem here. Next, you can infer about the hairstyles. It was slicked back. Next, beard was fully groomed. Next, the cloth that these people used was similar to how the acharyas and rishis wear. A robe on the shoulder and under the other shoulder. Next is he also wear a piece of jewelry here. Next important thing, we can see that embroidery was also prevalent in IBC times. This design is called as trefoil. Trefoil. Understood? Now we will see about the script. We will take a short break here for 5 minutes. Then we will continue again. Rehan? Yeah. Okay, so let us resume our lecture. Now, now the next important thing, it is very important from exam point of view. The script of Harappan civilization. We've seen that it is not deciphered yet. Not deciphered. Not deciphered. And one of the important thing is that oldest deciphered script in Indian subcontinent is Ashokan Brahmi. Ashokan Brahmi and Ashokan Kharoshti. Now this was deciphered by James Prinsep. By James Prinsep in 1837. In 1837. Understood this much? Next. The script of IBC was called as pictographic. Pictographic. We've seen in the beginning also. Symbols were used for sounds. It was called as pictographic script. And one of the most important thing is that these people started writing from right to left. The usual way of writing was right to left. And again, they started from left to right sometimes. This is called as Bostrop-Fedon style of writing. Bostrop-Fedon style. Right to left, then left to right. Understood? Next, we will see about the religion. Now, there is diversity in religious beliefs in IBC. One of this was male god. Example, Pashupati. Pashupati. Female goddesses. Female goddesses of terracotta. We've seen this. We found terracotta images of females. Actually, there's a difference in interpretation now. Some scholars say that they may be mother goddesses, and others say that they may be part of daily. Some wealthy person has made a portrait like that. Understood? Next is tree worship, tree and animal worship. Now, these people also believed in ghosts and evil spirits. Ghosts. Now, this we can infer from the seals that were born as amulets or protective thing from magical harms. Understood? Next is this is tree and animal worship. Okay, this much is okay. Now about Pashupati. This Pashupati is found in on a seal called as Pashupati seal that was found at Mohenjo-daro. Pashupati seal. Pashupati seal found at Mohenjo-daro. It is also called as Proto-Shiva. Proto-Shiva. Now this Pashupati is sitting in a yogic posture, in a yoga pose, and he is surrounded by animals. You can see here. This was Pashupati. And he was surrounded by rhino, buffalo, tiger, and elephant. If you this is the writing, handwriting. Huh? Pictographic script. Now, the most common sign was jar in the script. Jar. This is the jar, and there are certain variants of it. See jar and fish, man. Pictographic script. Now, and if you see here, there is the space is more between letters, but as you go to the left, space is decreasing now because want of space to write. Understood? This Pashupati is wearing a mask of buffalo horns. He has 4 faces: 1, 2, 3, and 4. One at the back. Understood? Like Ashoka pillar. He is surrounded by 6 animals. 2 deers are here. 2 deers are present here. And 5 species: tiger, elephant. And one important thing is that all these animals face different directions. All these animals face different directions: tiger, elephant, buffalo, and rhino. India. The offline students, if you remember, I had also given you a short trick to remember this. Tea bread. Now we will see about the burial methods of IVC. Now, same as religious beliefs, there are variety in burial methods. One of them is this type of burial in the position of fetal position, in the position of the fetus, like a newborn baby. Next one is sometimes the grave was lined by bricks. Next is empty graves are also found. Symbolic burial. Understood. Next is double burial. This is a very important thing found at Lothal. Understood. And one more important thing is that it also contained grave goods. Grave goods. Understood. Now, complete burial found at Mohenjo-daro. Cemetery. Cemeteries were found at different sites. Next is this we've seen double burial. Wooden coffin. Sometimes the burial method also contained coffins at Harappa. Sometimes pot burials is found. Pot burial means the body was buried in a large pot, and sometimes after cremating, after burning the dead body, they buried the ashes in a pot. No, seal. Seal was a rectangular piece of stone. Rectangular piece of stone used in different purposes. It had a boss at the back for holding it together and to be worn. Now, last topic is decline of Harappan civilization. Now, decline is supposed to have taken because of many reasons. One of them is general drying up of the Indus Basin, and climate change. Another belief is that tectonic movements caused the Harappan people to change their habitat. Now, one of the most famous theories is that invasion of the Aryans. It was given by Ram Prasad Chanda, RC R Chanda. But this was later found that the period of existence of IVC people and Aryan civilization was a gap of several centuries, some 300 or 500 years. Understood? Now we will see the important sites. Harappa, excavated by Dayaram Sahani on the banks of river Ravi. Important things found here are 6 by 2 granaries. 6 into 2 granaries. It means 12 granaries. And red male sculpture of a male, only a torso, found at Harappa. Next, at Mohenjo-daro, the most important thing at Mohenjo-daro is this priest king. This man is called as either bearded priest or priest king. Next important thing is red bath. Next important thing is dancing girl and Pashupati seed. Mohenjo-daro also revealed a cotton cloth. Understood. Next is Chanudaro. Okay, we will directly skip to Kalibangan now. Kalibangan, we found a plowed field. This was asked in one of the PYQs in NDA. Next is it was also a place of fire altars. Havan Kund. Next, Lothal. Lothal, we found evidence of rice. Find the evidence of rice at Lothal. And dockyard. It was a dockyard of IVC. Terracotta model of Egyptian mummies. Next is Dholavira. Dholavira we have seen. It was divided into 3 parts. And one of the important thing is here, no fortifications is found. No fencing is found. Next, stone masonry is found only at this site. Stone masonry means wall made of stone. Found only at Dholavira. Banawali is also asked in one of the PYQs. Banawali, we found the evidence of plow. A model of plow. Terracotta model of plow. Understood? Next is Vedic culture. With the decline of Indus Valley civilization, we found that certain new people started emigrating to India. They called themselves as Arya. Arya. And because of these their religious books called as Vedas, we call this age as Vedic age. It was divided into two parts: the early Vedic age and the later Vedic age. Early Vedic age is also called as Rig Vedic age because all the evidence of this age is available only from the Rig Veda. Now we will see about the Vedas. Each Veda is divided into four parts. Samhita. Samhita means the original portion. Next is Brahmanas. Next is Aranyakas. Next is Upanishads. Veda is derived from the word vidya, meaning knowledge. Now these Vedas have the status of Aparosheya. The status of Aparosheya. It means it was not written by man. They believe that it was revealed by God. So it is also called as Shruti literature. Vedas form a part of Shruti literature. Understood? Now we will see the different portions, what they contain. Samhita contains hymns, religious hymns. Brahmanas contain explanations, explanation of the hymns. Aranyakas contain philosophy. Aranyakas means forest books. Next is Upanishads. Upanishads were also philosophy books. Dealing with Atma and Brahma. Dealing with Atma and Brahma. Atma means soul. Brahma means soul of the world or soul of the God. Now some important Upanishads we are going to see now. One of them is Mundaka Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad. This Mundaka Upanishad contains the famous slogan called as Satyamev Jayate. Satyamev Jayate. Next, there's a very famous story in an Upanishad called as Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad. The story was of Nachiketa, and his dialogue with Yamraj. Heard of it? One more famous Upanishad is called as Maha Upanishad. Maha Upanishad. It contains the famous logo of G20, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Contains Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The entire world is one family. Now, important thing regarding the origin of the Aryans. Aryans are believed to have come from steppes. Believed to have come from steppes. But there's a very famous theory of Lokmanya Tilak. He believed that the Vedas have come from the Arctic region. Arctic, North Pole. Sorry. Because of certain slokas in the Rig Veda, and based on that, Tilak did some astronomical calculations. And it was also a part of freedom struggle to say that we are not less than Europeans. Understood? Because Europeans used to live near the North Pole. Now, important thing about Rig Veda. Rig Veda is divided into 10 books. Now, the books are called as mandalas, and books 2 to 7 are the oldest, and they are also called as family books written by certain family of sages. Now, 10th mandala of Rig Veda contains the Purusha Sukta hymn. Book 7 of Rig Veda. Book 7 of Rig Veda contains a famous story of Battle of 10 Kings. Thus Rajan War. Thus Rajan War. This is important from exam point of view. Next is Yajurved. Yajurved is a ritualistic Veda. It contains the performance of sacrifices and ritual. Next is Atharva Samved. Samved is the reorganization of Rig Vedic hymns according to musical tones. According to musical tones. Understood? According to musical tones. Now, these three Vedas represent similar views. So they are called as Vedatrai. Vedatrai. Three Vedas. Understood? Actually, surnames are also derived from the Veda. Trivedi, Chaturvedi, Dvivedi. It means those who have recited the Vedas. Dvivedi means two Vedas. Understood? Next is Atharva Ved. Atharva Ved contains the beliefs of common people. It contains, in common language, you can say that it contains mantras on black magic. Understood? Next is Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the explanations for the Samhita portions. Aranyakas, we've seen all these, what these four different parts contain right now. So we can move forward. Now, in the Vedic literature, there's a belief that to properly understand the Vedas, you first have to get thorough with 6 different limbs of knowledge. They are called as limbs of Vedas, Vedangas. They are 6, these 6 Vedangas. Next is epics. The two famous epics are Ramayana and Mahabharata. Now, one of the most important thing is that you have to remember the order of these ages. Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. And Ramayana, written by Valmiki, took place in Treta Yuga. Mahabharata, written by Vedvyas, took place in Dwapar Yuga. Understood? Now, certain features we are going to see about the Rig Vedic society. Now, Rig Vedic society, we find a prevalence of relatively more equal compared to later Vedic age. Women were given a respectable position here. Women were given respectable position. Also, the Rig Vedic age is also a period of tribal society. Tribal society. The most important thing here was the tribe, Jana. Understood? Now, king here was a chief in battle, and there were certain tribal assemblies, Sabha, Samiti, Vidata, and Gana. This Sabha, Samiti, and Vidata were attended by women. This is very important. Sabha, Samiti, and Vidata attended by women. Next, social life. Social life was patriarchal. There were different types of marriages. Monogamy was also prevalent. Polygamy was also prevalent. We find that certain women composed hymns. Their name was Apala, Vishwavara, and Gosha and Lopamudra. One of the important things here in the Rig Vedic times is widow remarriage was allowed, and child marriages were absent in Rig Vedic times. Understood? Rig Vedic period correspond to 1500 to 1000 BC. Understood? Rig Vedic time period is considered from 1000 to 1500 BC. Next is economy. The economy of the people was pastoral. The most important thing was the cow. Cow was the most important possession of people. Next is religion. The religion of Rig Vedic people was reciting hymns and offering sacrifices. The most important god in the Rig Vedic time was Indra, because they were a tribal people. They used to engage in battles, and they prayed to Indra for victory in the battle. Understood? The epithets, the titles of Indra were Purandar. Indra was also a rain god. Indra. Purandar. Understood? Another next important god was Agni. Agni was the mediator between man and God. Next is, now we will directly go to later Vedic age. In the later Vedic age, there were certain changes in society. The society became now attached to the land. Land became the most important thing now. There was rise of kingdoms now in later Vedic age, called as Janapada. Janapada. There was relatively less progress. Agriculture was progressing, but because of agriculture, land was considered as the most important thing, and women were relegated to the subordinate position. Understood? In the later Vedic age, the people of this Aryan people got acquainted with the geography of India. So they divided India into three parts. Aryavarta means the North India, Madhya Desh means Central India, and Dakshinapat means South India. And during the later Vedic age, they discovered iron. And this phase is also called as painted grey ware, because the pots these people used were grey with painted designs on it. Understood? Now about the political organization. This we have seen, right? Kingdoms were formed, and the king, to emphasize his important position, carried out certain ceremonies. These were Rajasuya. Rajasuya means consecration ceremony. Ashwamedh, horse sacrifice. Vajapaya, chariot race. Everything was fixed. The outcome was known. The king is going to win. All of these were just in the namesake. And the king also assumed titles such as this Samrat and all these titles. This period also saw the maintenance of regular army, proper recruitment and proper payment. Full-time soldier now. Earlier, what used to happen? Soldier was a peasant in battle. Understood? Now we also see a rudimentary bureaucracy. King was supported by several different officers. Next is the economic condition. Now iron was used to clear forests and extend cultivation. So a later Vedic period is a period where these Aryan people started moving towards the eastward movement. Understood? Eastward movement. What helped them in the eastward movement? Iron. We have seen in the beginning, we have seen that copper was a very pliant metal. It could be bent easily. But iron was used to cut down the forest. Knowledge of manure was known. Manure means organic fertilizers. Next is, during this time, we find the birth of two different systems that was very negative for the Indian society. One of them was Varnashram system. They developed four Varnas: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And they also developed four ashram system. The starting three Varnas were privileged. They were allowed to perform certain ceremony. And the Shudras, they were not allowed to intermingle with others. Now, the ashram system divided the life of the higher class people into four different parts. They considered life to be of 100 years. The first 25 years was of studenthood, the phase that you are in now. After 25 years, started the phase of family life, settlement, and marriage. After 25 years, giving up your possessions and going to the forest. 50 to 75 years. After from 75 years to 100 years, becoming a complete renunciant, complete sannyasi. Understood? In Rigvedic times, we find certain terms such as Nishka. Actually, these people did not use coins. Nishka was only a piece of gold. Understood? Silver was called as Shatmana and Krishnala. This we have seen social life also. They divided it into four parts. Now, during the later Vedic period, the religious practices of these people degenerated. what they did, they used to sacrifice cattle on a large scale, and because of this, the cultivators had a difficulty to extend their cultivation and perform their activities. Because of this we've seen sacrifice of cattle. Next, unnecessary social activities, social functions, which caused a lot of drain of wealth expenditure. So to overcome this, certain religious thoughts have arisen now in the form of Buddhism and Jainism. We will take a short break because my thought needs a break now. यूट्यूब पे व्यूज है इसमें दे तो नहीं है ना समझ रहा है कि नहीं चल समझ रहा है हाँ नहीं है ना बाहरी लेक्चर दे रहा है आज नहीं है आज अच्छा चलेगा नहीं ये वो एडीसीएल बोर हो रहा नहीं अभी 25% कंप्लीट किया हम लोग हिस्ट्री का सिलेबस वास्ट है बहुत जम रही है क्या बर्थडे क्या मेरा सिलेबस भी नहीं है कॉल आया था कि रात में तक 3 साढ़े 3 बजे सोई था सोने का नहीं था खाली तो बोले सोचे बोले भजन पड़ी सोए तो फिर मैंने कहा था बस पे आ गया सारे आमिर भाई भी आ गए आखिर कॉल आया मुझे आता कि मेरा नाम मेरा विद्या विद्या खाली है तुझे रूम पे आके कुछ बोलना ही मत क्या मार 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 तो
कॉलेज में तो हम छोड़ दो मार्केट सामान मार्केट सेटिंग वाले कॉलेज में ग्रेजुएशन देगा फाइनल तक है हाँ बता हाँ डायरेक्ट सर्टिफिकेट लेके जा जैसे आ बता मेरे नाम भी